Let's see how we multiply and divide numbers with indices. First of all, what is an index number? The power is the index number. The number that's raised by the power is called the base number. Just need to point out an index number is also known as a power. Let's look at some multiplication. So we know that 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 is the same as saying 3 to the power of 5. Also, 3 to the power of 3 multiplied by 3 to the power of 2 is 3 to the power of 5. What we have to see here is these 3's without any numbers are actually 3 to the power of 1. If you look at the index numbers and add those together, you get 5. If you look here, 3 plus the 2 is also 5. So the rule here is when multiplying, as long as the base number is the same, you can add the index numbers. There's the base number, remember? So let's look at another example. In this case, the base number is the same. 4 plus 2 is 6. So that is 5 to the power of 6. So the rule for multiplication is a to the power of n multiplied by a to the power of m. All you do is you have the same base number a, n plus m. So that's the rule for multiplication. Okay, let's look at division. If we keep it very simple, these are all to the power of 1. We just don't tend to write the 1. Now when dividing, we know that 3 divided by 3 is 1, so they cancel. 3 divided by 3 is 1, so they cancel. So in this case, we are left with 3 to the power of 2. We can also show this in a different way. Using the multiplication rules, the base numbers are the same, so we can add the index numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 3 to the power of 4 over 3 to the power of 2. Now we know that 3 to the power of 4 divided by 3 to the power of 2 is equal to 3 to the power of 2, because these are the same. So if you look at this, in this case, 4 minus 2 is 2. So the division rule is very simple. If the base numbers are the same, you subtract the index numbers. Let's look at an example. If we have 5 to the 7 divided by 5 to the 3, 7 minus 3 is 4. We are left with 5 to the 4. So our rule for division is a to the n divided by a to the m is just a n minus m. Just remember with this here, a n over a m is also equal to a n divided by a m. They're the same. So there's our rule for division. We're going to look now at raising by another power. So if we had 3 squared all raised to the power of 4, what does that mean? That means 3 squared multiplied by 3 squared multiplied by 3 squared multiplied by 3 squared. Following the multiplication rule, 2 add 2 add 2 add 2 is 8. So we've now got 3 to the power of 8. So if we look at this, we can skip this step by recognizing that 2 multiplied by 4 is 8. Raising by the power, we multiply the indices. Let's look at an example. 5 to the power of 4 3 times. 4 times 3 is 12, gives us 5 to the power of 12. So our rule for raising by another power is a to the power of n, all raised to the power of m, is equal to a n multiplied by m. So there's our next rule. Finally, for this section, we'll look at raising to the power of 0. If we have 5 to the power of 3 divided by 5 to the power of 3, we know any number divided by itself is always equal to 1. If we look at this using the index laws, we have 5 to the power of 3 divided by 5 to the power of 3. With division, we subtract. 3 divided by 3 is 0. We have 5 to the power of 0. These are exactly the same, so these are also equal to each other. So therefore, we can say that 5 to the power of 0 is equal to 1. So our rule for raising to the power of 0 is a to the power of 0 is equal to 1. However, that is true for all numbers except 0. So that's our final rule for multiplying and dividing with indices. Let's have a look at a few examples and bring all this together. First one looks very complicated, but let's just deal with the numerator first. We leave a to the 7 alone. We are raising to the power, so we multiply here. Now we look at the denominator. We're raising to the power, so we multiply here. So this is what we've got. We now work with the numerator again. Multiplying, base numbers are the same, so we add those indices. And finally, we're left with division. So the rule for division is subtraction. So we're left with a to the power of 9. This one here, what I would suggest you do is recognize that actually, although there's no multiplication shown here, they are multiplied. So you've got 4 times 3 is 12. Base numbers are the same, and then we are multiplying, so we've got 2 add 4 is 6. So we have 12a to the power of 6. Similar here, first thing here, that a has no power, so we need to recognize its power is 1. 36 divided by 4 is 9, and a to the power of 4 divided by a to the power of 1 is a to the power of 3. This one, just be careful with this, you're actually raising the 3 to the power of 3 as well as the a to the power of 4 power of 3. So in this case I would separate it. You've got 3 to the power of 3, it's being multiplied by a 4 to the power of 3. 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 again is 27. 4 times 3 is 12, so you've got 27a to the power of 12. So that's it for multiplying and dividing with indices. Have a look at the next video to see how you work with negative index numbers and reciprocals.